Hey guys, welcome back to a new session of the day. In today's edition, we are going to look at the L3 devices and L2 devices. Okay, let me say L2 device and L3 device. So here in L3 device, we'll be working on the switch precisely. So we are going to compare the switch which operates on a layer 2 of the OSI model and the one which operates on a layer 3 of the OSI model. For those who don't know, the OSI model is a standard which will describe how packet moves from one point to another over the network. So what you're going to do is we have to look for a packet tracer, which is already open over here. So I have it here. Okay, I'll just clear what I have. I think it should be gone very soon. Okay, it's clear. All right. Okay, so that's it. So this is my working space. Okay, for those who have not worked with packet tracer, this is the working space, and below this is where you get all your network devices that you want. The first tab, we have network devices. You can see when you bring the cursor on it, it shows the name network devices, and when you click on it, we have various network devices that will display under. We have router, we have switch, we have herbs, we have wireless devices, firewall, yeah, and so on. So in today's video, what we're going to do, today's video we are going to work on the L2 and L3 switch. So let's click on the switch below. We have L2 over here and the L3. So these two are the L3 switches. We have the 3560 and the 3650. So we can go for the 3560. All right, so this is it. All right, so these are the two switches that we'll be working on throughout this video. So the first thing you have to do when you have this kind of device, you need to get access to the interface of the switch. And what do you need to do to get access to the interface of the switch? Is just by clicking on the switch, you land to this particular interface and go to CLI, which is command line interface. You click on it, and the moment you click, you have this first screen which will pop up. And what should you do? Just tap enter. Okay, just tap enter. All right, so you can see it is showing what switch. All right, so this is where you are going to configure, or you are going to do one or two things for the switch to be active. And another thing you should also understand with this one is the various mode found on the network devices. So this particular mode is called user mode. So the first mode is called user mode. All right, so you land on the user mode, and the second mode is privilege mode, and the third mode is we have configure terminal. We have configure terminal. All right, so yeah, so let's come back to this. So this is the first mode, which is the user mode. What should you do for you to move from the first mode to the second mode is by typing enable and you press enter. So the moment you type enable, it changes the mode from the user mode to the privilege mode, and from the privilege mode to the configure terminal, you just type configure terminal. All right, oh sorry, the terminal without e, so configure terminal. All right, so you just press enter, and this is it. So you can see the difference. The first mode, which is the user mode, it's represented with what? With the greater sign. The second mode, which is the privilege mode, we have hash, and then the third mode, which is the configure terminal, we have config in between bracket. And where we are on this particular mode, for instance, the configure terminal, if you need to reverse like one step backward, what should you do? You just need to tap exit, okay, or you type end. This is only when you are on the configuration global, but then there's also a difference between the exit and the end. What is the difference is also another question we are going to answer throughout this video, so please kindly stick. But before we continue, I would like you guys to share the video, subscribe if it is not yet done, because I'm actually, you know, create the content. It requires a lot of time, especially when you are a busy type and stuff, but still we get time, try to record this, and then, you know, I'll help one or two people. So to encourage us, I would like you guys to subscribe, share the video, and also leave the comments below what you would like us to treat. Okay, back to what we were discussing, the difference between exit and end. Okay, let me show you this. If you tap exit, it brings you back to the privilege mode. If you tap exit again, it sends you back to the user mode. So to exit for you to get to the user mode, that is from the global mode. Let me go back to where I was, configure terminal. All right, so let me change the mode from the config mode. Let me try to go into an interface mode. So I'll type interface VLAN 1, for instance, and you can see the interface over here has changed. The mode has changed itself. From the config is now config dash if. This shows that you are not in the global mode, you are inside an interface mode. And what can you do on the interface? You can assign an IP address, you can shut down the interface, you can, you know, enable the interface, you can add comment, you can do so many things with an interface. All right, so from here, if I want to go back to the user mode, what I will do is I will just type end. So end will take me back to the privilege mode, right? But from that same mode, from the same mode, if I want to go from the same mode, if I want to go back to the configuration global mode, and I will just type exit. Okay, so after this scenario, what do you understand about end and exit? So what you have to understand is that exit takes you one step backward from a different mode than the configuration global. So if you are in a different mode than the configuration global, you use exit, it takes you one step backward. But if you are on the different mode, as I said, and you tap end takes you straight into a privilege mode. So this is what you have to understand, because it's very important. All right, so yeah, so this is actually the difference between the end and exit. Please take note of it, because these are petty things that sometimes will consume your second whilst you're doing configuration. All right, so to move into an interface mode, what you have to do is to just type interface. So you are here, you type interface, and then you provide the interface. In this case, I'll use the VLAN 1 as the interface. Okay, for those who will be asking what is VLAN, I will have a session where I will explain what is VLAN segmentation and all those things. So you can see when I move into the VLAN interface, the mode changes from the config to config dash if. So over here I can assign what an IP address if I wish. And the question is, how do I assign an IP address? Is by typing IP address, which is the keyword, okay, and then followed by the IP address. So let's say 192.168.1.1.1, and after providing the IP address, you make sure you provide the subnet mask. For instance, we have 255.255.255.0. okay, So when it happens like that, you just press enter. Okay, so you don't have any message. Anytime you type a command, if there is no error message, meaning the command has been successful, right? After assigning an IP address on an interface, what you have to do is you have to enable the interface. What do you do to enable the interface? You type no shutdown. The opposite of no shutdown is what? A shutdown, which brings the interface down. If I type shutdown like this, it brings the interface down. Then if I want to bring it up, I type no shutdown. I'll just validate. You see, I have a message that links 5 changed interface VLAN 1 changed state to up, meaning it was down. So now our interface, which is the VLAN 1, okay, is up. All right. So and another thing people also sometimes would like to know is to find out how the interfaces are organized on the switch. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to go back to the privilege mode. So we type end, as I just explained to you. Okay, this is our privilege mode, and we type show IP interface. We can use this one, but this actually is a bit long because it describes each interface, and by default the switch we are using has 24 ports. So imagine 24 interfaces. We have all the details. So what we have to do is just show VLAN brief, for instance. Okay, so this one gives you information about the VLAN, and it also shows the interfaces assigned to a particular VLAN. So the first column is the VLAN's column, and the second column is the name, and here we have the what? The status, right? So the default one is the VLAN 1, which has control of all the interfaces assigned. You can see we have 24 ports of the fast Ethernet ports, and we have 2 gig ports, right? Okay, so if you have to create your VLANs, you can see the VLANs will be listed over here, and if you also assign the interfaces into the respective VLANs that you assign, you have them over here. So this kind of gives you the overview of the brief, the overview or the brief of the VLANs you've created on the switch and how you've assigned them. Okay, so for this first part of the video, those are the small things I wanted to share with you guys. If you like the video, let me know in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe if it's not done. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.